problems. Vijay Prasad, would you like to kind of, first question is that he said yes, indeed, Mr. Kempenna is now on air. He said yes. He's saying not all were bad, some were very good, but he had to pay money. So there you have it. Mr. Ishwarappa went blue in his face before tendering his resignation. He was taken kicking and shouting. Now it is very clear. You've heard it. Your response, Vijay Prasad, on this particular allegation.
Namaskara, Sudha.
Namaskara.
See, we should really admire Nagmohan Das, the Justice Nagmohan Das. He was chairman of SC Reservation Committee, and he was also chairman of committee for formed between the Lingayats and Veerashaiva. And now he is being made chairman to investigate the 40% commission. Actually, the only person in Karnataka to understand what is going on in CM Siddramaiah's mind looks like is Nagmohan Das. See, more than the investigation, Sudha, it looks like to settle a political vendetta and do a witch hunt towards BJP and tarnish the BJP's image. Nevertheless, we welcome the investigation. But if you are so transparent and wants to end the corruption menace, why are you restricting only to 40% unsubstantiated allegations?
Nizam, I want to ask you, a probe has been ordered, and it was said, and it's said in a lot of press, that it's because at the insistence of the Contractors Association that you have decided a probe. But my point is this: first, they said by 30th August you will talk about it. Today, if you read, Mr. Jarkioli has said that it may also take 2 years. How long do you think the contractors should wait for them to get at least part payment, Nizam Faujdar? Last time you were on the show, you said we have all the sympathy, and you used the word empathy with the contractors. And I know that you have, I'm sure that as a fellow Kannadiga, you have respect for an elderly man who's sitting here today in the show with us. So please, why are you, if the probe, let the probe happen, but can't it be expedited 2 years? That's a bit much.
Sudha, I think the concerns are extremely right. I would rather put it this way. The constant rumbling by the government, BJP and BJP leaders saying that you don't have an iota of evidence, you don't have, the documents which relate to the 40% commission, and so on and so forth. The question today is that whether we can pay the contractors on time. If we have to pay, what are the modalities that we have to follow? If we follow those modalities, what are the series of outlay in terms of payment? Yes, Mr. Jarkioli said it may take 2 years. Doesn't mean that it is a blanket, situation where it will take 2 years for every contractor, for every work, for every tender. It will take so long to be paid. No, I told you last time that there are going to be categories in terms of the kind of the work that has been done. The ones which have got absolute clearance, those payments will be made. The ones which are on the gray area may need some bit of investigation. That's where Mr. Nagmohan Das, and I think the GO will be issued either in a couple of days, and Mr. Nagmohan Das will have absolute control over the probe, and he will give us a complete, forensic understanding what happened in the last 3.5 years. How did various individuals, both from the contractor side as well as the government side, as Mr. Kempenna said, some of the MLAs were forcing, certain contracts to go to certain people, and they were taking taking prepayments in terms of awarding contracts. So we are identifying those. It is not that we don't want to pay for everybody. Mr. Jarkioli said for certain cases it may take up to 2 years. It doesn't mean to say that it will take 2 years for everybody. I assure Mr. Kempenna again that the kind of fight we both are fighting, both as the Contractors Association, as a Congress party, and the Karnataka government, it's the same fight. We don't want them to go through this kind of a hardship. 40% देने के बाद इनको बचता क्या है? बचता क्या है? संतोष पाटिल और प्रदीप की जैसा आत्महत्या करना पड़ेगा। तो हम नहीं चाहते कि कोई जो आदमी, any
Right.
person who is building our nation should end his life like that.
All
And I
right.
think, you know what, Mr. DK Shivkumar is very clear. He's saying, I will make payments to those people who have done the work. It will happen. It doesn't mean that it's
No,
going to
but
take
it's
2 years.
not
It
up to
says
DKS.
Mr.
No.
Jarkiholy only said it may take up to 2 years in certain cases.
Yeah, but why should every contractor suffer is the point that we are raising. And Nagesh, I am asking you, in all this, what happens to the Aam Aadmi? That is not the party, but the common man. What happens to all the maintenance work? It will all stop. My mother lives in Bangalore. She says it has been dug up. No one comes. Now it's going to be even more. Let it rain once or twice, you are going to have accidents, you are going to have potholes. So in all this, don't you think it's the Bangalorean which will suffer?
No, absolutely. The main reason is you just showed one visual of a road being repaired.
Yes.
Okay, BBMP has actually come out with a book in 2009, which was made from standards declared by Indian Road Congress. Okay, and it actually shows how exactly a pothole has to be repaired. Right, it has to be dug first, then it has to be converted into a square pit, then a pre-treatment has to be given to the bottom, then a certain layers have to be created with different grades of grit and so on, and finally the top coat has to be put. None of these visuals, if you go around the city, you will find that none of the contractors are meeting these specifications, and BBMP also is not checking. Now, whom to blame? Either contractor or the BBMP engineers. And that is why our roads developed, potholes.
Yeah,
And
Mr.
when
Kemp.
we talking about potholes, there was a High Court case where BBMP claimed that there are no potholes. And then we went around asking systematically where are the potholes, and they came up with thousands of numbers of potholes.
Yeah,
And that
Nagesh,
job was done by Karnataka Legal Services
Nagesh,
Authority.
I have done like 20 stories on potholes, and ultimately my colleagues in Bengaluru said that actually the roads are built on potholes. It's not the other way around.
So when contractors are asking for money, why should I give them even 40 remaining 60%? When the public is not getting their money's worth, are we supposed to pay the contractors their 60% of the contract value? Should they only be the happy party? What about the public?